Assalamualaikum, I'm Nuraini binti Sofian, entry number 269730. I will brief for introduction. An investment is the process of purchasing assets that will increase in value over time with the goal of generating income or appreciation in the form of capital gains. In the financial world, investing is the purchasing of bonds, stock, or real estate property. One of the most essential concepts in portfolio management is diversification, where it strives to maximize return by investing in a variety of industries that might react differently to the same event. In this group assignment, we selected 5 active stock listed on the Bursa Malaysia from various industries to create a diversified portfolio and manage it for at least 20 trading days. The stocks in which we intend to invest are SKP Resources, Malaysia Inari Emitron Berhad, Malayan Banking Berhad, Axiata Group Berhad, and Hartalega Holdings Berhad. For economic analysis, first we go to monetary policy. According to Bank Negara Malaysia, Malaysia's monetary policy in 2021 will remain appropriate and accommodative to foster a sustainable economic recovery amid modest pricing pressures. In response to recent economic conditions caused by COVID-19, BNM has taken action by lowering the OPR to 1.75% since July 2020, and this rate has remained unchanged until November 2021. As risks to the growth outlook remain tighter to the downside due to external and domestic factors as well as the emergence of new COVID-19 variant. As for money supply, Malaysia has recorded a continuing increase in the money supply M1 and M3 as November 2021 due to unchanged of OPR since July 2020. Malaysian government continued to pursue an expansionary fiscal policy to stimulate the economy through Budget 2021 initiative aimed at accelerating recovery and strengthening economic resilience in order to succeed the National Recovery Plan (NRP). This fiscal support can be seen in the form of additional assistance and stimulus package with the government spending of RM225 billion and additional fiscal injection of RM25 billion to cushion the negative impact of the pandemic and containment measures. There are 4 economic stimulus packages, which is Permai, Perkasa, Perkasa Plus, and Pemulih. I will present for the company SKP Resources Berhad that involved in electrical and electronic industry. For industry analysis of E&E industry, the current growth cycle of the E&E industry is in mature growth. This is since the E&E product industry is already in 5th decade of operation and has been one of the pillars of the economic renaissance. The future of electric E&E industry is brightening as more companies shift into more knowledge-intensive, high-touch and innovative operation, and is supported by the government from the announcement of Budget 2022 through the grants and incentives. This is SWOT analysis for E&E industry. For strength, E&E industry is one of the fundamental industries that influence other industries to expand. E&E industry has always been among the top 10 major export items and has government support. For the weaknesses of E&E industry is the shortage of skilled talents. Next, opportunities. The opportunities that E&E have is the market expansion to the global segment and the changes in consumer lifestyle to the digital technology. The last one is threats. E&E has too many players in the industry and have to face to the market volatility due to the volatility of the price of raw material. So this is a fundamental analysis. We are doing liquidity ratios, profitability ratios, and leverage ratios for SKP Resources Berhad. So for the liquidity ratios, we are doing current ratios and quick ratios. For profitability ratios, we are doing 3 ratios which are net profit margin, return on asset, return on equity. Meanwhile, leverage ratio, we are doing debt equity ratio and equity multiplying ratio. We also doing activity ratios that consist total asset turnover and account receivable turnover. Lastly, we doing common stock ratios that consist earning per share, EPS, and dividend yield. Okay, so this is the 3 years future forecast for the SKP Resources Berhad, where we can see the intrinsic value of the 3 years is 1.6206 for 2022, 1.7756 for 2023, and 1.7252 for 2024, that it can be included as the undervalue for the stock SKP Resources Berhad. For the technical analysis of SKP Resources Berhad, for MACD from July to the end of November 2021, the MACD of SKP Resources Berhad show the bullish because the line can be seen closing above 0. However, on the 15th of November The line decline crossed below zero, that indicating that the MACD of SKP Resources Berhad is bearish. Nevertheless, on the 31st December 2021, the MACD line crossed from below to above the signal line, which indicates a bullish state. The RSI of SKP Resources indicated that the company is considered overbought 2 times when the crossing line reached above 70%, with the first one is on the 18th August 2021 and second one is on the 28th December until 31st December 2021, with the highest RSI of 83.4%. Meanwhile, the RSI for SKP Resources is regarded as oversold, that happens on 17 December 2021. The SKP Resources moving average show that the short-term moving average crossed above the longer-term moving average on August 4, 2021, and then the short-term moving average continues to grow above the long-term moving average until December 9, 2021, when it crossed below the longer-term moving average on December 10, 2021. The support level of SKP Resources Berhad can be seen starting from 10 and 27 December 2021 at the price of RM1.70 and RM1.68. Meanwhile, the resistance level of SKP Resources Berhad start from 18 November and 29 December 2021 at the price of RM1.81 and RM1.79.
Hi, my name is Nadia Faham Ramli. Entry number 269981. I'm going to talk about Inari and Metron Berhad. Next, for the industry analysis, the growth cycle of technology industry is currently in rapid expansions. Malaysia technology industry has been upgraded from neutral to positive. This situation is preferable for investors to invest in technology stocks. The future of the industry, the expansion of 5G technology is projected to keep technology industry momentum. The SWOT analysis, the strength of technology industry is the evolving industry. Analysis in Malaysia technical hardware sector is likely to undergo an upcycle. Following that, Telekom Malaysia and YTI Communications Sdn Bhd would be Malaysia first two operators to offer facilities of 5G connectivity to their respective consumer in their service zone. The weakness of technology industry are high staff turnover at the lowest level of industry and the bargaining power of consumer. Expansion is one of the opportunities of technology industry. The opportunity of technology industry are changes on consumer lifestyle. The trade for technology industry is sluggish economic conditions. When the economy is weak, customers and other companies are less inclined to acquire an industry products. That's the company that will benefit with the current trend industry. The first company is Inari and Metron Berhad. Inari signed a non-binding memorandum of understanding with CTFC with the purpose of forming a joint venture. Next, the Malaysian Pacific industry is predicted to do well as the semiconductor sector develops despite difficulties due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, Inari and MPI are good companies to invest in because it will give benefit from the future industry trend. For the fundamental analysis, the liquidity ratios of Inari, the current ratio of Inari shows slight decrease from 2019 to 2021. A decrease in current ratio indicates that there are problems in inventory management. Next, the quick ratio of Inari and Metron increased slightly dropped in 2021. This ratio analyzes a company's capacity to meet existing liabilities without selling off asset or borrowing funds. For the activity ratios, the total asset turnover for Inari shows slight drop in 2020 from 2019, then gradually increased in 2021. If the ratio is increased, the better company on managing their inventories. Next, the account receivable turnover shows increased trend from 2019 to 2021. If the account receivable turnover increase, it shows that Inari is more effectively processing credits. Next, the leverage ratio of Inari, the debt to equity ratio and the equity multiplier ratio of Inari shows increase from year 2019 until 2021. For profitability ratio, the net profit margin dropped slightly from year 2019 until year 2020 and sharply increased in year 2021. The ROA of Inari decreased in 2020 from year 2019. The ROA increased back in 2021. Next, for the return of equity, decreased from year 2019 to 2020 and increased back in 2021. For common stock ratio, the EPS of Inari is decreasing from year 2019 until year 2020 and increased back in 2021. The dividend yield of Inari and Metron decreased and rise sharply in 2021. For the future forecast, the forecast revenue for Inari for year 2022 and until 2024 slightly increasing. This estimation is due to the company cannot sustain a very high level growth rate. The current share price is greater than the intrinsic value of forecast here. This indicates that the share price is overvalued stock, so do not invest in the stock. Okay, next for the technical analysis, the MACD of Inari and Metron Berhad for 6 months from July until December 2021. The green line refers to MACD and the red line is signal line. For the relative strength index, the RSI is considered overbought when above 70% and oversold when below 30%. Next, for the moving average, the short-term moving average is calculated over 20 days, while the long-term moving average is calculated over 100 days. The orange line illustrates the short-term moving average, and the green line shows the long-term moving average. The moving average of Inari shows that the short-term moving average on July 2021 and keeps growing above the long-term moving average until December 2021. For the support and resistance, the support level of Inari can be seen starting from 30 November 2021 until end of year 2021, and the resistance level of Inari can start from 17 November 2021 until end of year 2021. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Bwfn. My number matrix is 2698988. Now I will present about the Malayan banking Berhad perspective. Next is about the banking industry analysis. For the growth cycle, the industry is currently in rapid expansion, which is they have a plan, which is the financial sector blueprint for the 10 years period. The purpose of this plan is about to develop a monetary environment and profitability. For second is about the future of industry. They have two types. They have focusing, which is fintech technology and artificial intelligence technology. Next is about SWOT analysis of banking industry. The strength is about lead on the economic growth, and second is industry have advanced financial accommodation. For the weakness, all technology lead to vulnerability and do not have access to the rural area. For the opportunity, they stay aware of the customer request and segment changes and make the improvement. And of course, they need to move into the rural region. For the three, they have two. First is a recession and second is a data breach. Next is the company that benefit with the current trend banking industry. They have two, Maybank and CIMB Bank. For the Maybank, they have opened the first branch in Dubai, which is Dubai International Financial Center, the IFC. And second, they have made a cooperation with the Credit Guarantee Corporation, CGC, to help the small medium enterprise sector. Second is CIMB. Because CIMB have offered the full range of banking administrator to the shopper for the small medium enterprise sector, and CIMB contribute with the micro biz ready program, which is focused on helping small medium enterprise to increase their organization. Next is about the fundamental analysis for the Maybank Berhad. First, about the activity ratio. For the activity ratio, have a fluctuating trend for the total asset turnover and account receivable turnover. And for the leverage ratio for the Maybank Berhad, they have a decreasing trend for the debt equity ratio and equity multiplier ratio. Next is about the common stock ratio of Maybank Berhad. For the earning per share, they have a decreasing trend from the 2018 to 2020. And for the dividend yield, they have a fluctuating trend from the 2018 to 2020. For the profitability ratio, they have decreasing trend for the net profit margin, return on asset and return on equity. This is the forecast revenue and intrinsic value for the Maybank Berhad. We can see that current share price is greater than the intrinsic value for the forecast year. This indicates that the share price is overvalued stock. Next is about the technical analysis for Maybank Berhad. First is moving average convergence divergence, which is MACD. The MACD for the Maybank Berhad start closing above 0 in 18 August 2020 until the end of the December. For the relative strength index, from July to December 2021, the Maybank Berhad considered overbought because for time the relative strength index line is above than 70%. Moving average for the Maybank Berhad, from this slide we can see from July to December 2021, we can see that short-term moving average is always above than the long-term moving average. Next is the support and resistance of Maybank Berhad. For the support level of Maybank Berhad started from early November and created two major support, which is 8 ringgit to 20 cent and 7 ringgit and 89 cents. For the resistance level, start from 31st December with the price is 8 ringgit and 36.
Now I will explain about Untitled Chapter, which is telecommunication and media industry. For the industry analysis, we have the first one is growth cycle, which is this industry has at mature pasar, disruptive business model that urban of newer technology than the unpredictability of economic growth. And then for the future of industry, this industry still to keep doing what they are currently doing for this current year. So, which is providing tablets to people kids, begin the digital gap through the gender initiative, pursuing national 5G rollout goals, cut their FY22 EPS by 5% to 10%, and the last one, charge on 5G services, not exceed than charge on 4G services. And then for the SWOT analysis, for the Spain, they have 3 well-established mobile operators with 5 additional operators registered to provide 3G and 4G services in Malaysia, increase in customer usage of mobile data and VASS, more than 100% penetration exists on the mature market created by a strong regulator supportive of competition in the mobile sectors, the provisions of group urban assets, and the government initiative to improve scalability. For the weakness, they have average review per user rates that are consistently declining. And then telecommunications continue to dominate the markets for local telecommunications and local or globalist line, and the declining growth of direct exchange line at the hands of mobile. For the opportunity, they use the use of 4G and 3G services open up new commercial options for content producers, mobile number portability launched to bolster competitions, improving technology and coverage providing a framework for development in the broadband sector. And for the street, the possibility of a mature market become a local market
saturated, limited number of key strategic geographical investors, the high-speed broadbands projected awarded by the government to telecommunication, and the greater competition among them. Okay, the company that benefit with the current industry, I can relate with the Maxi because Maxi has known as the Malaysian market leader that has a strong brand image that can be a dominant company among other companies in the telecommunication and media industry, and its dominance will affect the greater competitive landscape and directions the market takes. For the liquidity ratio, it shows that Axiata is more liquid on 2020 base that make them able to pay their creditors. And for the activity ratio, it shows that has an efficient capacity to recover its receivable more frequently than once every 3 years. It's around 73 to 68 days for a year. For the leverage ratio, it shows that Axiata is still utilizing a large amount of debt to fund its assets despite the fact that their value is shifting. And for the profitability ratio, it shows that they have a fluctuating trends on their profitability that make them not very strong enough to keep their profitability maintained every year. For the common stock, it shows that Axiata has the low amount of money to pay to shareholders, and intrinsic value and the current share price is overvalued. So that make the investor will not attract to invest to this company. Okay, for the technical analysis, we have the first one, MACD, that show that the security is oversold by Axiata Group Berhad. And for the RSI, it shows that Axiata in overbought trend for the security. And for the moving average, you can see that Axiata has the 20-day moving average that has closed below the long-term moving average, around 99 days moving average. For the last one, for the support and resistance of Axiata, it shows that on July 31st, Axiata shares broke over the barriers.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Fatihah binti Badrul Hisham and I will present about Hartalega Holdings Berhad. For the growth cycle, Malaysian hospitals were overcrowded, whereas COVID-19 bed utilization constantly above 100% until its August 2021 peak, necessitating the establishment of field hospitals. Malaysia intends to invest in regional medical centers, vaccine research, and improve understanding of communicable diseases as the virus evolved from pandemic to endemic status. As for the future of industry, technological improvement lead to a transformation in our system of patient-centered care. This tendency is projected to continue as new electronic healthcare technologies such as 3D printing, wearable biometric devices, and GPS monitoring are evaluated and integrated into clinical practice. Okay, so the strength of the healthcare industry is medical centers expand dramatically and policies for a steady supply of health professionals. Okay, the weakness of healthcare industry is internal brain drain, and the opportunities of healthcare industry is that the availability of informations and big data and integrated medical records. And the last one of the SWOT analysis is threats. Okay, so the threats for the healthcare industry is medical shortage may intensify and increase cyber data tips. Okay, as for the fundamental analysis, we calculated financial ratios. Okay, the first financial ratios is liquidity ratios. As for the liquidity ratios, we compute current ratio and quick ratios. As for the leverage ratios, we compute debt equity ratio and equity multiplier ratio. And as for profitability ratios, we compute net profit margin, return on asset, and return on equity. As for the activity ratios, we compute total asset turnover and account receivable turnover. And as for the common stock ratios, we compute EPS and dividend yield. Okay, as we can see on the slide, this is the 3 years forecast of Hartalega Holdings Berhad. As we can see on the slide, the forecast intrinsic value of Hartalega Holdings Berhad in 2022 is 8.355. On 2023, it is 18.892, and on 2024, it is 44.092. From July to end of November, the MACD for Hartalega is considered bearish because the line keep crossing below zero. However, on the 29th of November, the line rise crossing above zero that indicates that the MACD of Hartalega at the meantime is bullish. Nevertheless, The MACD of Hartalega crossing line decreased to below zero on 13th of December that indicates bearish. Hartalega RSI is considered overbought 2 times when the crossing line reached above 70% in the second half of 2021. Lastly, the RSI for Hartalega is regarded as oversold by 3 times in the second half of 2021. As shown above, the moving average for Hartalega shows a downward trend in the second half of 2021. The support level occurs 2 times starting from 10th and 31st of December at the price of 5 ringgit and 50 cent and 5 ringgit and 22 cent respectively. As for the resistance level, it also happens 2 times starting from 5th of August and 29th of November 2021.
Next is portfolio trading for the 5 company. First, we can see that the total value for the closing price is 86,585 ringgit, and for the return on investment, we can see for the 5 company is 0.6%. Next, this is the schedule of the buying stock for the 5 company, which is the total cost for the 20 days trading is 344,853,000 ringgit Malaysia. Next, this is the selling stock schedule for the 5 company in 20-day trading, which is the value is 354,568 ringgit Malaysia, and that we get profit, which is 9,750 ringgit Malaysia, equal with 45.17%.
As a conclusion, at the end of trading time, we receive a profit of up to 45.173%, earning RM 9,715 from an initial investment of 87,000 ringgit 395. We believe this was due to since we developed a well-diversified portfolio to minimize risk while maximizing reward. Aside from that, our portfolio returns on investment is 0.6% calculated by multiplying the weighted average of the company by the return. Furthermore, based on the 3-year of future forecast from these 5 active stocks, we can conclude that the investor should buy the stock from SKP Resources Berhad and Hartalega Holdings Berhad, since the current share price is lower than the intrinsic value of the forecast here. This indicates that the share price is undervalued stock and recommended for investors to invest in SKP Resources Berhad and Hartalega Holdings Berhad stock. Finally, there are a variety of things that we might research for before investing in specific companies, such as component of economy, fundamental and technical analysis. Every component is critical to ensuring that we are properly comprehend what is going on in the stock market. Thank you.